About a lot with our personal stuff and how yoga has been applied to our personal lives. But for someone who is dealing with that inner thing because of outside experiences like bullying or racism or the things that we're dealing with on a daily basis, what do you say to those people?
Y'all people, I still be angry, but that's because I'm human.
Right.
But
how does what you do help them through?
What we do, yoga, like I was telling you earlier, is like it's anywhere. It's your own personal journey, and what you have to learn is that can't nobody control you but you. And when you give and you feed into it, you lose your power. With bullying, is something different because somebody done tore you down. And I think we've all been torn down in one part of our lives. And it's about having the strength to like allow somebody to help you build you up, because sometimes when you're bullied, you're not gonna be able to build yourself back up, but you gotta be open to let somebody help you through it, and you have to talk about it. I was thinking like kid, I don't know if I could be a kid in this day and age, because they have social media and they have these standards that they feel like they have to live up to, because on social media we show nothing but the good things. We don't really show too many imperfections.
Right.
We show that great picture of ourselves, or we show the good. We never show everything, which is it is impossible, because when we're feeling bad, we ain't gonna put no camera up to our face. That's
right.
just not possible, because it's like unless you're crying out for some kind of help and
right.
you want the attention. And I don't blame nobody who does that, because that means I want some attention. I need it.
Right.
But we have to kind of uplift them, and not to be afraid to tell our stories as well, so they can know that they can get through it. But to give them a safe place. Give them a safe place to where they feel like they can come talk to us about it. When we say things, we can't be judgmental. We have to be non-judgmental, because we want them to talk about it more. Hi. Hi. But shoot, what's the saying? If you see something, say something. Like, even if you seeing something, say something. Like, because sometimes when a person, I remember being bullied as a kid in school, but I feel like that, to me, I felt like that was common, but it does leave some kind of like mark on you. You're kind of scarred by it, so you have to have somebody strong to kind of help you through it. I, like, for instance, I got teased about my nose. Like, I felt like every day as a kid, because I had a big nose, and they had all the nose jokes of me. And I remember I would see people get a nose piercing, and I'm like, I want one, but shoot, my nose too big. I'll never get that. I ain't about to get my nose pierced. And but one day I was like, you know what? F that, forget that. I'm going to get my nose pierced. I don't, but that stuck with me from childhood to adulthood. So I had to snap out of it like, girl, you were grown.
Right.
Like, let that go.
Right.
Don't nobody care about your nose. That's your nose. But we have to just support that person that's getting bullied, especially if we see it. Don't add to the fire of it. And just try to uplift that person. But with yoga, because it's a practice of self, and to teach you not to be so critical of yourself, that's a start.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I hope I answered the question.
Yeah, you did.
I love it. But yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that the movements like what you're doing is gonna help. To hear people's stories about being bullied.
And what they're doing.
And adults get bullied too.
Oh yeah. And that's the other reason why I do this. That's why I'm doing this, is because it's not just in our schoolhouses anymore. And doing the research and looking at what it entails, it takes place right now. It's taking place because of the color of our skin. Just because the color
been
of our skin.
The color of our skin. Like, I grew up in an area that was black side of town, white side of town. Black people party together, white people party together. Like, it's always, I grew up,
Right.
even though I'm growing up in this time, it was always segregated. But that, I don't know if that will ever change.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
And it won't change. I don't believe it's going to change either. But what I do believe that will change is if we look at it differently. You know what I mean?
It's all about perspective.
And it's about perspective, but it's also about that inner, like we've been talking about. If you know who you are, you don't have to prove yourself to nobody. Nobody. No matter, and that's what I feel like, you know, us as a community has been doing. You know, we feel like we have to be a certain way in order to be accepted by this race or these people, you know, and that's where to me that's where the bullying comes in, because now you have this stigmatism about yourself because of the color of your skin. You're nervous to go here. It puts that fear in us, like you talked about throughout practice, is that, you know, that is fear. It's not love. You know, we're not loving ourselves anymore. We're moving out of fear, which causes us to be in an unhealthy place. It causes us to make unhealthy decisions.
Yeah.
And we need to have knowledge of who we are, and that's why I do what I do. It's because I want people to know that no matter how things are around you and how people see you, as long as you're true to you and your inner self and what you have to offer, then everything else, it doesn't, you know, I feel like that'll become obsolete. Once we figure out that aspect of life, then that'll be...
You know, I feel like we're paving our ways. Like, as women, as black people, I feel like we paving a way. And I feel like we always have. And just even in the study of yoga, when you think about yoga, you don't think about what we look like. But we do the same things. We have the same practices. It's like we gotta move out of what people think about us. Like, we can't sit there and be afraid to walk in places like we don't belong. As long as this door is open, I can walk through it. And if I'm at a table, I must belong here, so I'm gonna sit here.
Right.
And we have to show up as ourselves every single time.
Right.
When we try to be other people, it never works out. It never feels comfortable.
No.
It never feels good.
And you go with
and then
preconception.
And then you gotta still be this person around these other people.
You gotta uphold the image that is not even yours.
When you walk in a room, you gotta be you. I listened to something, and this lady was saying how a friend of hers said she's different people. She's a different person for different people, and she will be afraid to go to a party with all her people there because she ain't gonna know how to be. That's too stressful.
Yeah.
You gotta show up as yourself every time. And of course, it might feel uncomfortable because the first initial thought is like, what people think.
Right.
But then we have to kind of erase that and be us, because to be honest with you, when you're authentically yourself, unapologetic about it, people love that. That's why people love like Cardi B, like Sukihana. So like, that's them. That's who they are, and people love them. No matter what it looks like, they showing up as themselves.
That's good. That's good to me. That's good.
So I don't know. With the bullying thing, we really just have to speak positivity, especially, and when I just like to the kids, to like even the adults, like it doesn't pay somebody to pay a compliment, if you see something, try to encourage them, because if it's not received in that moment, it'll still be in a faint memory, because we still remember what nice things people say to us. So if you see, just try to uplift people.
Right. And a lot of people are scared to do that. I don't know why, but they are. It's like, oh, I saw you the other day, but I didn't want to say nothing because, you know, like that whole thing.
That
it's just
backlash,
like,
or you don't want to feel embarrassed because, you know,
yeah,
it's just
because
like
they
a whole
done said something, and I'm just like, look, I told a lady the other day, she said she was tired at work, and she was walking down the hall, and I said, I like what you're doing. And she was like, what I did? I said, what you're supposed to be doing. I just like it. I see you. Like, I want you to know I see you. And she's like, oh, well, thank you. You know, and I felt, she probably was like, she's so weird. But I did that because I felt like she needed to hear that. You know what I'm saying? Like, some people just need to hear some things. They just need to hear
And that
it.
sounds like that's just you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, that's just who you are.
Yeah.
So you're not stopping, like, showing who you are. And no matter what the circumstances.
Right.
Like you say, she might think I'm crazy now. She gonna remember that sweet thing, and she's gonna remember you. You know? So you left an impression on her.
Yeah. Yep. That's me.
Well, I'm in support. Whatever you need me to do.
Whatever you need me to do, I'm in support.
Right.
Whenever you have your first big class, I'm going to be there, be square. I'm going to be with it. I'm glad I did this. I'm glad I made that decision. And a lot of times I look at another thing with me, I'm like, I just met that girl. You know, and the crazy thing is, I kept saying Miss Harris, but I was like, what is her first name? Because I'm more personal, you know. So then I asked Miss McClure, and she told me which her name was. So that's when I called you. I was like, hey, Miss Tony, you know, because I wanted to make that more personal. That I'm involved. Like, I want to be a part of whatever you're a part of, and you know, I think that's important. Especially when you
so
start
you was
off.
like, I met this girl, and I don't want to be weird. And I was like, I met this girl, and she was like so cool. Like, we're gonna do it. Like, you know, I was so weird because I'm usually nervous about meeting new people. But when the energy is great, I'm excited about meeting a new person. That makes sense. Like, and I was excited that we met. Like, from our first meeting, it just happened organically, and it just really left a lasting impression. So that's how I know you leave lasting impressions, because you left one on me, and I was just like, man, this girl is dope. Like, she's amazing.
Oh, thank you. I'm learning that about me. I'm learning that. I'm embracing it. Let me put it that way. It's not
that's the term.
I don't learn. I know that. I'm just embracing her, you know, and being okay with her, and that she
her is pretty dope.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah. So I don't know what you're doing after this, but I definitely want you to keep going because somebody else needs this.
Yes, I'm going to finish my videos, and then I'm going to submit for my certification. And
so what's the date? What date you're looking at? I'm going to stop this. Tell everybody bye. Bye!